2024 is here, and if you're anything like me, a little voice in your head might be telling you to go out and have an adventure. And if you want that adventure to come in the form of your first ever ultramarathon, this video is for you. It was 2 years ago in January that I decided to have my first ever ultramarathon adventure, and this is the blueprint that I followed to help me achieve it. Let's get into it. First up, find and book your race. Now this might seem obvious, but I actually think booking the perfect race is a bit of an art form. For me, I have two rules when it comes to booking a race. The first rule is I shouldn't be able to do the race that day. So if I were to book it that day, it would be too hard for me. I have to train for it. The second rule is while the race is too big for me to do that day, it should fill me with excitement but not dread the thought of doing it. So for example, when I booked my first ever ultramarathon, it was Ultra Trail Snowdonia, and there were 3 different distances at the time. There's now 4. The shortest distance was 50 kilometers, 30-ish miles in the mountains. The second distance was 100 kilometers, and the third distance was 100 miles. The 100 miles was just no way. There's no way I could do that. Plus I wouldn't have been allowed. You have to qualify for that. The second distance though, the 100k, I thought about that for a while, and then I really considered it. What would that mean? And I looked at the average amount of time it took people to do the race, which is over 24 hours in that savage terrain, and I realized no way. The thought of that filled me with utter dread. It wouldn't have been fun. I probably couldn't have done it. So that race went out the window, and the 50k filled me with excitement, nervous excitement. It was still a very tough thing to do, running not only my first ultramarathon, but one in the mountains. But it filled me with excitement of like, can I do it? I'm not sure. Let's give it a go. I'm nervous. I'm excited. That's the sort of feeling I like to have when I'm booking my race. Once you have your race booked, the first step in preparing yourself physically is to start building your aerobic base. Depending on your background, whether either you've not been doing much running at all, or if actually you're quite fit in, say, high intensity interval training, CrossFit style, high rock style stuff, you may still find, even in that case where you're quite fit, your aerobic base isn't good enough to cover long distances. I'm not going to go into too much detail here today. This will definitely be a deep dive topic for another video. But briefly, we've got 2 different types of fitness. We've got our anaerobic fitness and our aerobic fitness. Our aerobic fitness is our go all day fitness. That's the stuff we need to achieve ultramarathon running. The simple way to train this is with running at a conversational pace. There's a phrase that I've stolen from Peter Attia, which is when you're running to try and target your aerobic fitness, you should be able to talk, but you just don't want to. So it's that sort of pace where you want to have a rhythm, you want to have a breathing rhythm, but if you're with a friend, you could talk in full sentences. If you're using a watch and preferably even a heart rate strap, a chest strap, then you would be looking to run in your zone 2. That's what we're talking about here. At the beginning of your training plan, when you've just booked your ultramarathon, targeting your aerobic fitness is the most important thing. There is a time and a place for speed work and interval work, and that is very important as well. But at the beginning, you couldn't go too far wrong just by doing every single run slow, easy, and targeting your aerobic base. I would be looking at running 4 times a week aerobically. There's another really important benefit here, and that's that it really helps your mindset. The great thing, and probably the best thing about running a lot in your aerobic system, is that it doesn't really beat you up. You can run and feel fine by the end of your run, you feel fine the next day, and you can quite quickly increase the distance that you run, and you surprise yourself there. So if you're someone, for example, who finds running 5 miles quite tough, or say even a half marathon, you'll be able to extend that surprisingly quickly, not get injured, not beat yourself up. And that really helps your mindset. When you start to learn, like covering long distances, if you're running a bit slower, it's surprisingly, I'm not going to say easy, but surprisingly okay. Then that really helps boost your mindset to go, do you know what? I might be an ultra runner here. Let's get this going. Going deeper down the rabbit hole of training, you might want to get yourself a plan. I've followed 2 plans, which I bought on Training Peaks. That's the platform and app that I use. I bought one plan written by the authors of The Uphill Athlete. I've read that book and it's an amazing book. I highly recommend it. And then just to mix it up a little bit, I followed another plan written by the authors of 80-20 Running. I read that book as well. I actually found The Uphill Athlete book better, but the 80/20 running training plan on Training Peaks better. So if you're looking for plans, you might want to follow 80/20 running. If you're looking for books, look up The Uphill Athlete. The plans are like recipes, and all you have to do is just follow the recipe and you end up baking the cake. You end up becoming the ultra runner. I liked the 80/20 running one because it really synced seamlessly with Garmin and my watch, and I'd just go into my watch every day. The whole workout, heart rates and paces and everything would be in the watch. It would beep at me when I was going too fast, beep at me when I was going too slow. Everything was just perfect. I'm a bit of a geek. I like this detail. I like following a plan. I also like not having to think. Go into the app in my watch and it was just there, ready to tell me what to do. It should be said that I know plenty of ultra runners who are super chill. They don't follow plans. They just seem to muddle their way through. It's not essential, but I like to say if you want to go down the rabbit hole, following a plan written by an expert is probably a good idea. And this brings me to my final point, and this is the idea of committing. Truly committing. In my life, I've done plenty of things where I've booked events and I haven't really trained for them, and I muddle my way through and somehow manage to blag it and get it done, but it's a pretty miserable experience. I might come out the other end injured, or I just come out the other side hating training and the type of event that I just did. And I'm just bored with living that way. So for the last couple of years, when I book something, I commit to it. Committing to something involves organizing your life in a way where you can really try your best, and that might involve communicating with your partner and your family. My wife, she's the most supportive person ever, but she also has her own hobbies and she enjoys CrossFit competition. So it's really important that while my training takes time out of the family, I still make sure she gets her training done. She can have her competitions. It's not uncommon for me to set the alarm at 4:30 a.m. on a Sunday so I can do a 16-miler before breakfast and then take the kids to their sport, because as much as my ultra running is important to me, I really can't take huge amounts of time out of the family. That wouldn't be fair to them. Would I wish it was easier to get this stuff done? Absolutely. But that's the reality of the context of my life with my family and my business. So I need to commit. I need to get things done, but I need to fit it into my life, and that's a tricky logistical challenge. But I do want to give these things everything when I sign up to it. I've done it both ways. The way where I don't give it everything and I blag it and don't really enjoy it. In the last couple of years, when I try something, I really try. And I've got to tell you, that's the best way to do it. So have your race that makes you nervous. Follow your plan, stick to the plan, and you'll come out the other side proud, whatever the outcome. I actually had a race last year that I didn't finish, but I can look back knowing that I really gave it everything, and it hurt at the time, but now I can look back going, do you know what? I still gave it everything, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. And if it does go your way, and you know you've really given it your best shot, that makes crossing the finish line so sweet and so special. Before I sign off this video, I would like to thank my first ever super thanks. This wonderful person commented on my Track 100 video, and at the time that I got the notification for this super thanks coming in, I was shoveling 2 tons of gravel into my business car park, and it was quite a monotonous day, and I got this notification saying someone had really enjoyed my video and paid me $5 for it. I just actually wanted to cry. That was such an amazing thing for me, so thank you very much for that. And I've got other videos coming out soon talking about my training for the upcoming year, so make sure you're subscribed if you haven't hit that button yet. And if you do want to see that 100 video, I'll link it right here.